Welcome back to DAGryffyn Hobby. My name's Dave. In this video, we've got another edition of budget railroading. One of my favorite budget railroading additions to the collection was a $40 MPC era 040 switcher. I took a chance on it and it turned out really good. The engine pulls fantastically, runs well, and it's just a great runner, especially for 40 bucks. But what's in this box? Well, I can tell you, including shipping, the item in this box cost me 50 bucks, which is not bad because I've been looking for one of these for a long time. I see them frequently, I see the MPC era frequently, but they're always expensive. How much is too expensive? Well, for me and for what I want to use it for, the $100 that I see these things for a lot is just too much. Now, I figured I'd take a chance on this one. It was listed as being not in great condition, and then before it was mailed, I was told by the seller that he wanted to make sure it ran, and it picked something up on the layout and stopped running. So not only is the shell probably not in the best condition, it might not work at all. So this should be interesting. I haven't opened it yet. I like to save the excitement or the disappointment for when I'm making the video. It just makes it more genuine. So it's all sealed up. Let's get it open, see what we have to deal with. I love when things are wrapped nicely. It just makes me happy. Little rusty on the bottom, and the discoloration on the side might be from that rust. It's missing the silhouettes in the windows, so you, oh, actually, it's missing silhouettes on one side. Maybe both sides are in there. If not, come up with something. But what is it? It is a post-war Baltimore and Ohio 400 powered bud unit. Yes, I already have one of these. And the one I have belongs to my uncle. My grandfather bought it for him when he was little. So I love having that. But since I have the one, I've wanted another car or two behind it, because running just one of these, it's just missing something. So I've been hoping to pick up another bud car for quite some time. I've seen lots of post-war and MPC era versions, sometimes in sets, sometimes on their own, but always too much. So when I saw this listed for like 35 bucks or something, whatever it was, I had to jump on it. It doesn't look that bad. I mean, it's discolored on the side, but I think that can clean up. The rest of it really looks pretty good and might actually look better than the one I have. But the bottom's not looking great. A little rusted, maybe battery corrosion. So let's get into this thing and see what it looks like. So there's some scuff marks up top, a couple of nicks, scratches, the horns are there. You see silhouettes hiding in there somewhere. The print is nice and clean and clear, the sticker is there on both sides, that's nice. So really, silhouettes and this discoloration. And even if I can't clean that up, that kind of looks like weathering, so I'm not even concerned about that. And as far as it running, I'm not too concerned about that either, because really, I didn't want a powered one. I want a dummy so that I can pull it behind my other one. So I figured I'd pick it up, see if I could make it a good dummy, and then maybe come up with something to do with the motor after I pull it out of here. Let's get this bottom off. Whew. Yeah, I'd say there might be a couple issues, but that's what it looks like. These units are supposed to have 3 bulbs, one on each end and one in the middle. Obviously, I'm missing a couple. The horns in here, the E unit, the motor. The brushers are there, so that's good. The E unit's a little, I guess the bracket's bent. Straighten that out a little bit. Seems to move. It's hard to fix something when you don't know what's wrong with it. So let's throw it on the track and see what happens. Well, it's not dead in the water, so that's good. E-unit functions nicely. It definitely is a little jittery, but that could just be a filthy armature. I'm going to go ahead and just tear this thing apart. The screw for the motor is quite loose, so that might be a big part of the problem there. Motor turns okay. Wheels move all right. The horn looks like it's in nice condition, especially considering how bad the middle of the frame is. Okay, this isn't the worst frame I've ever seen. That might belong to my my Trainmaster. That was pretty bad. It took a lot of cleaning and sanding to get that even remotely presentable. One of my thoughts was make a dual-motored unit, but I'd have to cut two frames and attach them so that I have the proper mounting on each end. I can put that truck on, but how do I mount this truck if I'm not using the motor? I hadn't considered that. Right away I've got some things to think about. Do I want to make this a dummy unit? Would it make more sense just to try to find an inexpensive dummy unit? Well, I mean, I've been trying to do that for about 2 years, but I mean, this is what I have in front of me, so I should try to figure something out with it. Ooh, that's gunky. Well, there's part of your running problem right there. Grease in this thing is pretty nasty. I'm wondering now if I should just kind of do a little restoration on it and get it going. And then I can just lock the E-units to go the same direction, which isn't my favorite thing to do, but probably the easiest thing to do. Then I can run them together, or I can run them separate. I'm just spraying a little contact cleaner all over myself and the truck. I would have preferred not to spray it all over myself, but I'm a little clumsy. Part of me is thinking that this has never been taken apart. Based on the condition of the wiring and the state of the grease in here. Is it all original? I wish these things would come with a little journal of what they've been through. Gears look like they're in good condition. Oh man, this messes with my plans. I was expecting this to be a disaster, and then I wouldn't mind changing it up, doing something with it. But now I'm not so sure. I now have at least a plan, or at least a temporary plan. So I'm going to just clean this up a little bit more, and then move forward and see what happens. I think that's the screw they want there. Coupler seems good. And tighten that down straight. It's usually good to make things are in the proper location before you tighten them, Dave. Okay. Decent. Let's see what the other truck looks like. Not bad. A little dusty and dirty. Put some Labelle on the axles by the bushings. Looks like that wheel's a little uneven. So now I've got two trucks that are in decent condition and a frame that obviously needs some work. But for now, I'm going to put it back together. So how do I put this on without the motor? Well, I'll tell you. I don't know if it's going to work, but this is from a Williams dummy engine, and this is what they use in place of the motor to hold the truck on. So I think it's the same size. You know, after all, Williams was based off of most of the Lionel stuff, so let's see what happens. It fit right in there. So did it work? Look at that. Maybe with the spring in place, it would be better. Take that truck back off. That's better. If I keep this as a dummy, I'll take it back apart, give the trucks real good cleaning. I'll soak the frame in something that's been recommended to me a whole bunch of times, and I can't remember the name of right now, but I have. Let's see if I can find it. Evapo-Rust. I think I'll soak that in Evapo-Rust and see what it does. Hopefully this metal does not deteriorate too much, because if I do want to put it all back together, I'll want the horn in there and everything. So I'm not going to worry about the lights or the wiring or anything like that. Just want to see what it looks like. Screw. What screw held this in? Does anybody remember? 'Cause I don't. Probably this little one here. I don't think so. That's too small. Whether it's the right one or not, seems to work. Okay, so back together. Let's check it out on the layout. So converting it to a dummy works, so that's a possibility. But then how is the motor and the E-unit, and will I be able to get them working well? I think so, but let's take a look. The drum's a little stiff. There's some dirt, there's some burn marks, but that's coming off. So the drum doesn't turn very well, so I think taking it out and cleaning it up and putting it back in will be a great idea. The wires all seem okay. I think the only thing that's really rusted on the E-unit is the lever. And the relay seems okay for the horn. The horn is one of the nicer looking ones that I found inside one of these engines. And the motor turns, so I think it's a definite possibility that this thing will make a good runner. And that's why the engine wasn't running well. Look how dirty the armature face is, and this is the biggest problem. The brushes really aren't moving. Well, not smoothly anyway. They should pop out of there. And if they're sticky like this, it's definitely going to affect running because they're not making good contact with the face. So I think cleaning this off and cleaning the brushes and where they sit, and this thing would run like a champ. Yeah, that's a lot of carbon buildup in there. Put some electrical contact cleaner on the Q-tip, and I'll just give it a good old cleaning. Now I could spend time and get this really spotless and super shiny, but it's kind of overkill in my opinion. That already will work so much better than it was before. And even the cleanest engine will get dirty as you use it, so even if it's perfectly spotless, it won't be spotless for long. Like I said, these brushes should pop out, and they obviously are not. They are filthy. Yeah, filthy. All of that definitely gets in the way of smooth running. The surface that matters the most is the end, because that's where it's making contact. But really, the whole thing needs to be clean. I wish I had the time tonight to put this back together, because now I want to see if it works. But that's going to have to wait for another day, because I just don't have that much time. The springs are not in great shape. This one's better. At least it moves freely. This one moves freely too, but it doesn't come out nearly as far. So that probably needs a new spring. So not ideal. It really should come out more like this one. Definitely want to add some oil. I used the Labelle oils. Very happy with their performance. You know, I probably should have... Yeah, I'm going to have to take this all apart and pull this shaft out of here, because that's gunky. It needs a much better cleaning than I just did. I think there should be a clip right here. That could also be causing an issue, because it's going to allow too much movement of the armature. There is a groove right there, and I would really think there should be a clip there. So I'll have to find one, and we'll also take this all apart and clean that out, because that is definitely going to affect running. So let's see if it moves. I'll put a ground on the case and then hit this one brush holder. And that really spins very nicely. Hold on just a moment. Let's try that again. It It's hard to see. But I think the armature is bent, or the gear up on the end of it is. Now, is that because it doesn't have a clip there and it's bouncing around? I don't think so. I think it's legitimately bent. That could definitely account for poor running, because that's going to jam up. So maybe this will be a dummy after all. So does that look bent to you? Hard to tell, Dave. You keep moving the thing. Yeah, I'd say it looks bent. Wow. I have not seen that before. Okay, so this will be another day's project. See if I can get this apart and then back together properly. See if the armature shaft is actually bent. And go from there. But in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy running this car as a dummy behind the one I already have. And two of them look a lot better than one. But of course, now that there's two, I want a third. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time on DAGryffyn Hobby.